Whatever the adventure, there's a BMW engineered to take it on. The X3 delivers a striking design with agile performance. The 100% electric i4 packed with pure electric energy. Or the plug-in hybrid X5, an impressive, versatile SUV granting full control on every journey. Choose what powers your next adventure during the BMW Road Home Sales Event. BMW, the ultimate driving machine. Hurry in for exceptional offers through January 2nd. Visit bmwusa.com for details.
Good evening. Welcome to WSBI, your resource for success podcast program, where you get to meet inspiring women-owned businesses from across the country. And now, for your host, Kimberly McLemore.
All right, good evening and welcome to WSBI, your resource for success podcast program, where you get to meet inspiring entrepreneurs and women-owned businesses from across the country. I am your host, Kimberly McLemore, president and founder of the Women's Small Business Initiative, LLC, and award-winning author. And welcome to another night of sharing. With us, we have Charron, and Cara is a digital marketing expert and coach who's been featured on CNN, Fox, NBC, CBS, and USA Today. She's helped best-selling authors, bloggers, coaches, digital course creators, influencers, and more to reach their true potential. Over the years, Cara started businesses, coached businesses, and even been an executive of a multi-million-dollar ads agency. One of her greatest accomplishments is creating her first multi-million-dollar business in her 20s. Having failed hard on her journey towards success, she's learned tough lessons along the way, but never gave up thanks to her resilience. She's passionate about helping business owners break their limits. So, without further ado, please help me out. Welcome to my platform, Miss Cara Charron. And I know I'm probably saying, I don't know why I feel like I'm saying this wrong. So, welcome to the platform. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is crazy. How are you?
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I am excited about everything, hearing about everything you've accomplished, and then, of course, what you're doing today and all this great stuff. Your background sounds phenomenal, and I really, really can't wait to hear about the story about you being in business at the age of 20, making your first multi-million-dollar business. So before we dive into this, though, please tell my listeners a little bit more about who Cara really is.
Yeah, sure. Well, I mean, my intro summed up professionally who I am, but I am also a mother of two teenagers and a wife of, over 20 years. I think my husband and I have now been married. Mm-hmm. And so I am a mom who loves to have a freedom lifestyle type of business, a digital business, and I love coaching businesses, and it's just definitely a passion of mine. I love travel, although, with COVID, it's been, a hot minute since we've done a little bit of traveling. But I'm also, I'm just super excited to be here and share with you guys the lessons that I've learned thus far. I feel like I have had quite a journey to success, and I've had a lot of failures along the way, and I believe in total transparency. I have failed hard. I've lost big and I've won big, and I like talking about both because both need to be talked about. A lot of people only focus on success, but there's so much failure out there, and it's just, on the road to success is a whole lot of failures.
Exactly. You're absolutely right. And that's the key. And that's the thing that I love about doing this show is that, a lot of times when people see everybody, especially as us business owners, they see only the good. They don't understand the bad and ugly that came along the way to get to this point, and that what it takes to stay here. Right. So let's dive into, let's definitely dive into this because, we do know that digital marketing is very, very, very important in this day and age. And talk about your background and expertise in this and how and what is it you do to help those who are in need of this service?
Yeah, for sure. And, I kind of fell into digital marketing. I'm pretty much self-taught, which is, when I think about it, amazing. I fell into it because I actually in my 20s, when I did create that multi-million-dollar business, it was in real estate, and I lost it all in the 2008, that whole nightmare of a mess that happened. And I was forced to learn something new. And my background when I went to school was web design, and I had a web design company before. I've always been like an entrepreneur. I've always definitely wanted to work for myself. And so I found myself in a challenging time of, I had to learn a new skill and I wasn't really sure. And I really just went on the internet. And back in the day, it was just kind of like forums, and digital marketing was more about like email marketing, I would say. It was like about starting to list build, and it was so powerful. It was like businesses like, oh my gosh, you could, build an email list and you could email them offers and things like that. And I kind of found my way into, digital marketing that way. And then, fast forward to where I am now, which is many years later, is being able to, I've been behind the scenes of building multiple multi-million-dollar digital businesses. And that's kind of my specialty of learning the craft of digital marketing and the craft of all the things that it entails, which is a lot more now than just email marketing. Now there's traffic and ads and offers and funnels and all of these things that I help with my clients create. So that's like a quick rundown of how I've
right. And that's fine. Here. And that's fine. Because, when I listen to you talk about the digital market, especially back in the day when it first kind of came out, and you kind of hear about the emailing and all that, back then it was kind of like the yellow pages, that we had from years ago. I don't know if that's dating myself, but, some people are like, what is a yellow page book?
No, but you're so right. It was like email marketing was like this, it was like, how people found you before was the yellow pages, and and so when Google and search engine stuff all started happening, and then it was like, ooh, now we can actually email people. It was like this huge thing, and now it's evolved even so much more.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. Like I said, for most people, it is a huge part of the success of their business. Like you're saying, it's more than just emailing people. It's all about who are you really connecting to? How is this business going to evolve into making money and so forth. So talk a little bit into more depth about really what the understanding of digital marketing is. Because I think a lot of times when people hear just the email side of it, it gets kind of, I guess the word I want to use is that people kind of get tired of constantly getting emails, and they're trying to understand, well, how did they get to us? I didn't buy anything from this, or was it just because I was looking for something? I think it's really good for those people who are aspiring to become entrepreneurs, understand what digital marketing really, entails.
Yeah, for sure. And so, digital marketing, at least in my space and what I really focus on, is kind of creating a whole ecosystem of digital marketing, which would mean that we focus on building a list. So building an email list, absolutely. And you're only going to get people on your list, like they have to sign up. So there's none of this, shady kind of, I'm just going to, buy lists and spam people. That's not the way that I do business. And so basically what I teach people with digital marketing is this.
This holiday, BMW has reunited 3 members of the family at the BMW Road Home Sales event. The Agile X3, engineered for any adventure. The plug-in hybrid X5, commanding the streets with unmatched presence. And the all-electric i4, charging into the future with impeccable performance. Hurry in to find what powers your journey at the BMW Road Home Sales event. BMW, the ultimate driving machine.
Visit Valley BMW Center today for attractive lease and finance offers.
When you work in tech at Cox, you get to do meaningful work every day. You get to be the biker who codes as fast as he rides, crafting advanced tech solutions that transform car buying. Or a guitarist who develops harmonious apps and websites, connecting people to people and businesses, all in real time. A savvy soccer mom running solution sets as passionately as she runs gameplays. Be the super secret keeper. Designing cybersecurity systems to protect private data and websites. A planet protector. Expanding EV battery life and inventing more ways to build a better future for all. When you work in tech at Cox, you get to do career-defining work that solves the greatest problems of our time. Join us and connect to work that improves lives, including yours. Learn more about our family of businesses at cox.career/tech.
Holistic way of like really showing up and giving value to people. And when you do this and you lead with value, your people are going to convert into customers. And we work on what the customer journey is. And so part of that digital marketing, and we use that in different ways, because we talk about wanting to build an email list. Well, in order to even give something for free. So we want to create something of value. Or what I like to teach people is, because old school way is 100% just giving away something for free, nurture them through email and giving them information and then giving them opportunities to buy. What I teach is a little bit different. It is a lot of, I want to make sure that I'm building a list of buyers. So I'm going to put something out there that I'm over delivering. So I am creating something of tremendous value that people would spend quite a bit of money on, and I'm giving them a really good deal on this so that they can buy something and come into my world. Then I'm going to nurture them through a variety of ways, through content, through maybe a podcast like we're on right now.
Right.
I'm going to run ads. Like I need to get people to my offer, right? Some people are under the illusion that it's like, if they build it, people will come. And it's
of course.
This is where digital marketing comes into play, right? Because unless you just want your family and friends, if you just post it on Instagram or Facebook or wherever you are, we need to get beyond that. So digital marketing also brings into, where are your ideal people? What is the messaging that they need to hear? What are their pains? What is your solution? How are you helping them? And how do you get in front of them? And there are a variety of ways that we do this, but it comes all under this umbrella of digital marketing.
Right, right. And I noticed that, you help a lot of, authors and bloggers and coaches. And it seems like those three entities sometimes can be the hardest, because even though like you may physically see a book in front of you, it's like, well, who are you going to reach out to get that book? Why is it important that you're selling and that people need to buy that book? Or what is in that blog that's going to make them come running to you because you have a blog? And then, of course, we all know there's a million of coaches. So what type of coach are you really, looking for? And how is that one coach going to stand out amongst millions of people so that they can get the business?
Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah. So I love the fact that you actually work with people who don't stand out as much. I mean, we stand out, but we don't. And I guess when I'm thinking of it in this way, I think of it as the fact that, you don't have something that's tangent, it's not standing in front of you. It's not a meal, where you advertise like, oh, you get a free meal because you've done A, B, C, or D, so those things are enticing to people because they can physically see if they've tasted before they know what it is. But when you're talking about something in this realm, it's a little bit different. It's a little harder. We all know when you first come out as an author, you're exciting. People want to buy, but then, you filled that circle already. So how do you get outside of that circle? Who are you going to reach out to further in order to can maintain or how to become that best-selling author or that best-selling international author? So, when I think about what you're doing, I don't hear a lot of people talk about digital marketing in just that realm, even though I'm sure you've helped many other people beyond this, executives and so forth. But to really be able to have somebody who focuses on people who do have the hardest part about being in this type of business is the marketing aspect of it.
Yeah, it's the marketing aspect. And then also, I think a lot of people make this common mistake of thinking that they could build an entire business around one book or one thing. And I'll be honest with you, that is just very, it's very risky, right? It's like, when I talk about, digital marketing and building a digital business, it is like building a house, and you need a foundation, and you can't build a foundation, just like you can't build a table with one leg.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so again, you're being able to pull back and look at, what is that customer journey? And the book, or having a digital product, or even just one coaching program, that is just one piece of the puzzle of a product suite in which you need to create. And so we focus on building that entire ecosystem for a person, because you can't just have one thing. And again, too, with a lot of example bloggers, right? Like, they're used to, getting a lot of good, maybe organic traffic, but they don't feel like they have any expertise to create a product or anything. And they're relying on ad revenue or affiliate promotions or things like that. And they don't realize how easy it is to create digital products if they just were given the right system to follow. And once they do, they have a lot more power, right? You're taking your power back. You're creating the power when you can create that product yourself and that you own it, as opposed to relying on other platforms for your revenue.
Right. Oh, that makes so much sense. Oh, love it. Okay. We could be talking about this forever, but I want to dive into a little more about hearing about the business that you did in your 20s. This is so profound, and I cannot wait to hear this story, because I'm sure there is many 20-year-olds right now and above listening, and you don't have to be 20 to figure out that you're going to make mistakes, but I really want to hear and understand your story. So dive on in, Cara.
Hey, well, I'm going to do my best to do more of like a Cliff Notes version of this. But like I said, I was always interested in being an entrepreneur. And when I was in my early 20s, my husband and I found ourselves in a seminar learning about real estate. And we decided to go all in, and we invested hard. Like, it's interesting looking back when you're in your 20s and you just think like, it's just, the world is possibilities,
right?
And I remember being in that room. I remember being like, it made so much sense to like hire a mentor, someone who's experienced, and like all of that. So long story short, we maxed out. And I think at that time we held the record for the amount of credit cards we put our education on. It was over 7 credit cards.
My goodness.
And we went and we did this. And I remember coming home and telling my parents, and they were just like, oh no. What are you two doing? It was over $30,000. And as someone in my early 20s, like, my mother said one thing to me when we were starting to acquire wealth. She was getting a little nervous about how fast things were happening, and we were finding investors and acquiring buildings, and we were flipping houses, and we were doing all the things. And at one point we had this 7,000 square foot mansion, and we were the youngest kids on the block, and our neighbors thought we were drug dealers. And it was so funny, because we were next to like lawyers and judges, and here we are, kids in our 20s. We had the biggest, house on our cul-de-sac, indoor pool, sauna, all the things.
Oh, wow.
And they're like, who are these kids? And I'm like, we're in real estate. And I remember my mom saying to me, and I'll never forget it, was, the only thing that helps me sleep at night is to know that you are so young that if this all falls apart, you are young enough to recover. And she was so right, because it all fell apart. We had apartment buildings. We, like I said, flipped houses and all of that. And we live in Windsor, Ontario, Canada. So we are right across the border from Detroit, Michigan. So if you remember what happened in Detroit, we felt it here.
Oh,
all right.
Wow.
So even though we had loads and loads of equity in some of our buildings, Windsor was actually blacklisted at that time to refinance or pull out for commercial loans. So again, having equity meant nothing. And so basically what happened on one of the coldest winter nights in history in one of our 18-unit apartment buildings, the boiler went.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Yeah. Oh, my goodness.
And so our tenants, and I mean, this became the first domino that just knocked all the other dominoes down. And so we had to evacuate. Well, first of all, before we evacuated, because people didn't want to evacuate, my parents were lovely, and we were buying up all the heaters in Windsor. Like, we were like going and trying to buy all these heaters for everyone to plug them into their units because the heat went.
Mm-hmm.
And then what happened was the fire unit was like, you can't do that. So, you know, people either will have to have the choice to start unplugging other things, or you have to evacuate. And
Mm-hmm.
the tenants at the time wanted to unplug things. They didn't want to have to leave. Long story short, they ended up having to evacuate.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had an empty building, which, again, in our 20s, not knowing much, we're being told by the city that we have to pay for all these people. Like, they somehow, what was it? It was like one of the first aid groups, Red Cross shows
mm-hmm.
up with these batter buses. They're taking
Mm-hmm.
them to hotels where we have to get security for this building, which is thousands of dollars a night. And we're told that we have to pay for all of these people to be put up in places.
Mm-hmm.
And then we go and we're told that the boiler is completely toast and that somebody tampered with it.
Oh.
But because the building was also so old, there was asbestos throughout it. And long story short, the insurance company said, like, you know, we might reimburse you for this, but we're going to have to do an investigation. So you have to pay for everything first, and then we'll reimburse you. Now, because the building was so old and there was asbestos with the pipes, it was going to be a few $100,000 to fix.
Wow.
A few $100,000 to, you know, some teenagers not teenagers, but I felt like I was a teenager. So people in our 20s, you know, we were just like, okay, let's pull out money from the buildings. Again, where were we? We were in a crisis. We could not pull any money. And so we had some hard decisions to make. Meanwhile, we are getting, you know, hounded by the city. It was just kind of a nightmare. And we did have some really good mentors at a time. And I'm a fighter. I'm an entrepreneur and I'm a fighter. And it took me, a bit to build this company where we had multiple units and all of the things. And
whatever the adventure, there's a BMW engineered to take it on. The X3 delivers a striking design with agile performance. The 100% electric i4 packed with pure electric energy. Or the plug-in hybrid X5, an impressive, versatile SUV granting full control on every journey. Choose what powers your next adventure during the BMW Road Home Sales Event. BMW, the ultimate driving machine. Hurry in for exceptional offers through January 2nd. Visit BMWUSA.com for details.
When you work in tech at Cox, you get to do meaningful work every day. You get to be the biker who codes as fast as he rides, crafting advanced tech solutions that transform car buying. Or a guitarist who develops harmonious apps and websites, connecting people to people and businesses, all in real time. A savvy soccer mom running solution sets as passionately as she runs gameplays. Be the super secret keeper, designing cybersecurity systems to protect private data and websites. A planet protector, expanding EV battery life and inventing more ways to build a better future for all. When you work in tech at Cox, you get to do career-defining work that solves the greatest problems of our time. Join us and connect to work that improves lives, including yours. Learn more about our family of businesses at cox.career/tech.
It was just like, okay, like, what do we need to do? And one of my mentors has said, you got to know when to fold your hand.
That's right. That's right.
Right?
Right.
You can't keep chasing good money after bad.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point, and I get goosebumps when I talk about this because I just still remember like it was yesterday because my kids were so little.
Mm-hmm.
They were so little. And I remember him saying, you got two beautiful little kids there and a family to think about. And at some point, you gotta know when to fold your cards. I know you're a fighter, but I don't see a way out of here. And I remember, my husband and I having to make that decision of folding that company. And that meant losing everything and starting all over again.
Wow. But then you think about the hole that you would have kept digging if you would have kept trying to turn it over.
For sure. And like I said, at some point, there's, we can't get the money out of the building. Like, how do you expect us to pay for this?
Right.
And, we ended up having to give the building back. And ironically, it was proven that someone tampered with it, and the insurance did pay it. But I mean, again, just how quickly, it can go down like dominoes if you don't have access to equity, or if you're over leveraged or overextended.
Right.
And it can all quickly go away.
Exactly. As fast as you built it, and actually it takes longer, like I said, to build it, but then with an instant, and that's just anything in life, right? I mean,
yeah,
you think you have it all, and then all of a sudden overnight it could be gone, and for whatever reason. But the lessons that you learned is, I think, the most important part about this whole story is really understanding, how to be better prepared in certain things. Even when you think everything is working great the way it is, you just never know where to have that cushion at, how to lay that cushion and be prepared for that one day this might happen. And versus the fact that, what did you feel that even though you were 20 and things were going great, did you guys feel like you were building it too fast? Did you ever have that thought process in your mind?
Absolutely. Looking back, we should have slowed down, and we were so gun-ho. And yeah, we should have slowed down a little bit more. And the other thing too, I would say the thing that actually saved us is not only my marriage, our marriage not only just survived it thrived through, I think, some of the most challenging things that a marriage could ever go through, which is, going through bankruptcy, and losing everything and restarting again, is our mindset. And my husband and I have always been huge into personal development. And I know that was our saving grace throughout this, throughout this whole thing, through losing that and then coming back and building again and being able to be an entrepreneur again. And I'm not, going to lie by any means. It didn't happen overnight.
Right.
Definitely there was a long period of time where I needed to get my confidence back, where we needed to get security, where we needed to, go out, and I needed to, get a job and do those things. But the mindset is the thing that saved everything and continues as a business owner. And you keep growing and getting through to the next level. Your mindset is the thing that's that secret tool that a lot of people don't necessarily give enough credit to, of how you thrive and how you continue to have success. Right.
But your key word was the mindset, because your mindset could have said, and like you said, even though it wasn't easy, you could have stayed in that section of, I can't do this anymore. My life is over. How are we going to survive? What about this? What about that? And it's easy because, like you said, it just took that one thing to just bring everything down literally overnight. And then you're having to refigure out your whole life. And like, so you had young kids, and you're young in a marriage. I mean, all these different things that come to mind that we all think of every day, whatever your circumstances may be, especially when you're in business, everything you're doing when it comes to business, it's about not just taking care of the business, it's about taking care of all the other things that surround you in that circle, your family, your responsibilities, your financial responsibilities, all those things. And so when you are putting in a situation like that, I think, you're right. Being young at the time, it gave you that resiliency, being in your 20s, you had the opportunity to restart your life. And there are a lot of people who don't get that opportunity, especially if they make a mistake like this at a certain point in their life, where it's like, how do you recover from that? What do you do beyond just changing your mindset? It's a lot to think about.
Yeah. No, it honestly is. And I will tell you that we actually were working with a real estate agent in this area that was a little bit of a snake. And he was selling buildings that weren't necessarily up to par. And as soon as you closed, and things were happening. And I actually do remember one conversation that a mortgage broker put me in contact with. And, they were much older at the time, and they had just put all of their retirement into this building, and again, was having a huge issue with this building, and they were going to lose it all. Wow. And I was so grateful for our situation. And I think that is so key. There's always something to be grateful for.
Right.
And in that moment when I was talking, I was like, I am so grateful that we are so young, that we can rebound, that we can. But if there is one thing that I have realized through my journey, now that I'm, definitely much older than I was then. And I'm still dealing with big numbers, and I'm not necessarily dealing with as much, I would say, risk per se, because, we have a little bit of real estate, but our business isn't completely real estate. It's all digital now.
Right.
However, there is still, my kids are now teenagers.
Right.
It's a different part of life. And I will tell you that being able to have that experience has definitely allowed me to diversify my thinking and how we have money and how we plan for things. And I do know, what I 100% know with certainty is that no matter what happens, I have the confidence that I am able to produce money.
Keyword.
And I think, I am able to produce money. And I think that when you're an entrepreneur and you've been in this for a while, again, that going back to that mindset of I'm able to produce money, and I can create a plan, and I can fix anything. And I've lost everything before, so I know how to actually even be okay when losing everything. Right. You can navigate through that. And I'm not saying that that's fun by any means.
I'm
laughing about it right now, and I'm not
saying
laughing
fun
by any means. Yeah.
But
I do know that it's possible.
Yeah. And I think that
it's possible.
Yeah. And I think that, with your story, the best part about all the things that you're talking about is that everybody that you help, you can share this story so they don't have to feel like they're alone, even though they may not go through something as tragic, so to speak, but to make them understand that this is what business is really about. You're stepping into the whole 9 yards here. You're all the way to the very top, and you're stepping in all fours, realizing that there's nobody there really to pick you up all the time and to help you get out of this, and that's the difference of employment versus being a business owner. As an employee, you don't have to worry about those things. You just get your paycheck, do your work, and you keep moving on. But when you're in business for yourself, you have everything else you have to think about. So I think that your story is very important to share. And I'm sure you do that quite a bit with those who think that, that they know it all, or think that, nothing can happen to them. It's like, wait a minute, let me tell you my story.
Well, and here's the thing. The thing is so interesting. I was just having this conversation with a friend the other day, because I thought it's so interesting, because people will say, like, let's say I don't want to work with newbies. I don't want to work with people new to business because their mindset, and they don't have the money, and there's the scarcity. And if let's say they want to invest in ads and they spend $100 and they don't make money, they freak out and they're like, I can't do this. And I was like, yeah, you're right. So there is that section. But let me tell you, when I deal with multi-million-dollar business owners, guess what? They have bad months too. And guess what? When they lose money, $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 a month for 3 months in a row, their mindset goes to that exact same place.
Wow.
So it happens at every single level. It happens. You're going to have bad months in business. There is risk and reward to being an entrepreneur, right?
Absolutely.
It's like we have a lot more risk, but man, the potential is so much greater. And if you can't, not everyone's cut out to do this. Right. And that is why, if you're not, then you go get a job, right? Because that job is going to consistently pay you. But at every level, let me tell you, and I've been behind very big businesses, there are months, full quarters, 3 months in a row where they are not profitable, but you have to be able to navigate through that hard time and keep going and keep getting creative and keep figuring out a way out in order to turn it around.
That's right. Well, even with the reality of even being at a job and being an employee, nothing lasts forever. That's right. It's a reality that you have to know how to be able to pick yourself back up and realize your value and your worth and what else you can do. So it's not whether it's about going out and starting a business or not. The key is that nothing ever lasts forever. Things will happen because something happens to that business. You're not going to have a job. If you have if you're a person who's under a contract, if that contract is not, rewarded and won again, you may not have a job. So there's all these different things today that you have to think about even as an employee. You can't sit back and always just be too comfortable, I guess is the way I'm thinking of it.
I totally agree with you, because to me, that's why I'm always like, entrepreneurship. I mean, how safe is job security with like the amount of like people that show up to work and they're like, hey, today's your last day. Let's walk you out, So for me, I'm like, I don't think it's so risky over here, but the reward is so much greater.
Yes.
But 100%, you have to be able to have resilience.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be able to pick yourself up. You have to be able to, dust yourself back off and figure out a plan and just go and process through the feelings and the thoughts and be able to move forward.
Right. And the feelings and the thoughts that you're going through, they're natural. There's something that you want to have happen, because it really does make you sit back and think more. When you have a little minimal of tragedy, whatever that is, as you know, we all call it tragedy when something doesn't go right. So the key is that if you're really learning something from that, that's the important piece of it, because now you know how to move forward and step in different directions that you probably wouldn't have, because like I said, when you get comfortable, you forget about these things. It's when that uncomfortableness comes in is where you have to step up and start doing your part, playing your role, whatever that is, whether it's an employee or whether it's a business owner.
Yeah, 100%. And I always say this, even with my journey, and I didn't even get into some of the bad and the ugly of my story. There is so much, but I will say this, and even though I would not wish this journey upon anyone, not even an enemy of any kind, I would not. But at the same time, I'm so grateful for it, because I've learned so much, and I wouldn't be here in the spot that I love in my life if I hadn't gone through that.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
And so I think that is with everything, is like being able to not only like sit back and process and digest it, but being grateful throughout the whole thing. And as cheesy as it might sound, of like everything happens for a reason, but it's like,
but it does,
it does. And one of the biggest things that I have also learned is that you are not going to a destination. You don't just arrive and become successful. This is a journey.
Absolutely.
We are always on this journey. We don't ever arrive. And when I was in my 20s, I thought we did. I thought we would have success and there would be like, here I am, man. And I'm staying here. But that's not the reality of the situation. The reality is you're going to have, winding roads, ups and downs. And if you can figure out with your mindset that you're going to embrace life as a journey and not a destination, then you can look at things from a completely different perspective. And perspective is everything.
Yes. And I love that, because at the end of the day too, it's literally just learning to trust the journey, so
that's right.
And that's the key. And that's where we all fall off sometimes. It's like, when these things happen, we were second guessing, trying, well, why? Well, trust the journey. There's a reason, even though, like you said, it may sound cheesy, but it's it is the correct thing. Things happen for a reason. We may not see it at that point, but when it happens and when it hits you, and then once it's done hitting you and you start to revive again, you really have that opportunity to say, you know what? Oh my gosh, what if this hadn't happened? It could be 10 times worse. You never know. There's so many things that, could come out of it. And obviously when one door closes, we all love the fact that we want one good door to open back up. So,
100%.
So, your journey and your information and things that you share, I think are important. And I love what you do. And like I said, we could continue to talk about this all night. Obviously, we're getting here at close to the end of the show. But what I would love for you to do is please, share your social media information so people can know how to reach you. And if you have anything going on you want else to share with us, please let us know.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Well, first of all, I want to just say thank you for allowing me to be here and share my story. And if anyone wants to find out more about me, my website's charron.com. So that's KARACHARRON.com. And on Instagram and Facebook, I have a podcast called Digital Business Breakthrough. That is the handle on my Instagram. So if you go and look Digital Business Breakthrough, you will also find me there.
All right. Well, it's been such a pleasure, because I just love having great conversation and sharing these stories. Like I said earlier, it's always more important, I think, that people understand that we are very human and these things do happen. And so if you decided you're going to get into this journey, realize, people, there's so much more that comes with this process. Okay. It's not just about getting to the success. It's about understanding how you get there and then what you're going to be learning with that. So again, Kara, thank you so much for coming on to the show. And of course, before we close tonight, I hope you all learned, my listeners, what it means to be resilient, because Kara definitely shared a really true good story about resiliency. And then, of course, how you to get to that potential, the true potential of who you are and what you're trying to get accomplished. And so I always try to think about, when I'm having these conversations, I always like people to think about to themselves, what are your dreams and what are your goals? How do you want to move forward if this is a conversation you want to have, just reach out to me anytime at Kimberly at WSBILC@gmail.com. Let's chat. Let's have that conversation. Nothing worse than keep dreaming and never taking that little step forward to make things a reality. And of course, if you want more of your resource for success, we do accept monetary donations to support the podcast. We can accept those through Cash App, PayPal, Good Pods, Tip Jar, or you can go directly to the website at www.wsbilc.com. Again, we would like to thank you all for listening to us tonight. We will be back next week with more amazing guests. Be sure to follow us right here on iHeartRadio or wherever you go to get your podcasts. Until then, enjoy the rest of your evening and good night.
Good night, everyone. We will be back next Thursday evening at 7 p.m. Follow us on Spreaker, www.spreaker.com/user/WSBI. View our new WSBI website anytime at www.wsbillc.com and on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Instagram.
Whatever the adventure, there's a BMW engineered to take it on. The X3 delivers a striking design with agile performance. The 100% electric i4 packed with pure electric energy. Or the plug-in hybrid X5, an impressive, versatile SUV granting full control on every journey. Choose what powers your next adventure during the BMW Road Home Sales Event. BMW, the ultimate driving machine. Hurry in for exceptional offers through January 2nd. Visit bmwusa.com for details.
When you work in tech at Cox, you get to do meaningful work every day. You get to be the biker who codes as fast as he rides, crafting advanced tech solutions that transform car buying. Or a guitarist who develops harmonious apps and websites, connecting people to people and businesses, all in real time. A savvy soccer mom running solution sets as passionately as she runs gameplays. Be the super secret keeper, designing cybersecurity systems to protect private data and websites. A planet protector, expanding EV battery life and inventing more ways to build a better future for all. When you work in tech at Cox, you get to do career-defining work that solves the greatest problems of our time. Join us and connect to work that improves lives, including yours. Learn more about our family of businesses at cox.career/tech.